Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to our Lummi Town Hall. Today is Wednesday, January 5th, 2022. Happy New Year, everybody. Appreciate
our Lummi Town Hall.
all of our love and appreciation. Sorry about the feedback that happened the last show. So I am just a one-man show. So Caleb Sanasnat, really appreciate everyone that's online with us and watching us on Freddie Lane Live. We'll be sharing this on our YouTube channel too as well. This is our number 3 show featuring the voices of, for, and about the Lummi people. And so we want to remind everybody that as Lhaq'temish people, in no way do the comments or the commentary reflect any opinions and policies of the Lummi Nation, its leaders, and all who speak publicly do so as general council members. We're Lhaq'temish members first. And so just want to, again, thank you. We want to go live to our relative down in Lower Elwha Sklallam tribe, Mr. Hammer. Mark Charles, Mark, if you can unmute, and Mark's going to do our opening blessing. So if everybody can mute, really appreciate it. Thank you. Go ahead, Mark. You'll have to unmute though.
Here we go. First of all, I'd like to say Happy New Year's to you guys up north. Wishing you guys well this year. 2022 should be a great year for Native people. You know, we'll come out of this COVID stuff powerful, strong. I'm truly honored to be asked to do this for you. You know, Hodgkinson. We'll sing the Chief Dan George prayer song for you. Oh, he, oh, he, oh, oh, he, Oh, he, oh, he, oh, hey. Ah, hey, ah, ah, hey, hey, oh, hey. Oh, he, oh, he, oh, oh, he, oh, hey, oh, hey. Ah, hey, ah, ah, hey, Edmonton.
Heist good. Heist good, dear brother. Just raising our hands, hoping all of our relatives out at the lower Elwha S'Klallam Nation are doing well. Please give our regards to all of our relatives. Thanking you, Mark, for our opening prayer. I know it's been a while seeing you, brother, and really looking forward to you and maybe some of the Canoe family coming out in May for our encampment. You know,
We'd love to be there. Thanks for the invite. Thanks for asking me to come in here and do this for you. I got to run. Got to take my nephew to basketball practice, but I'm grateful to be able to come in and start the meeting for you like this. Oscar.
Hey, Sam. Thank you. Hi, Mark. Hi, Hammer. Really appreciate it. Thank you for coming on. Hey, Sam. Well, again, thanking each and every one of you. Thank you for joining us. We're live on our Facebook page. And if you need to follow up, we post our Lummi Town Hall on my Freddie Lane Live page on YouTube as well. And so just welcoming you. It's Wednesday. We would like to share our loving thoughts and condolences to a lot of our families in the community that are in mourning. We really our heartfelt love and sincerest condolences. There was a double funeral yesterday, and there was a funeral for a beloved mother the day before, and so I'd just like to have a moment of silence, if we could, for our relative upriver. Just heard that the little Cooper brother passed away, and he was the one that was walking along the road and was struck by the snowplow, and my brother called me and just wanted me to ask for a moment of silence for our relatives upriver. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Haiska, thank you, each and every one of you. Now, Siam, this is Rez Talk, the Lhaq'temish from the shores of the Lummi Indian Reservation. I'm Caleb, AKA Freddie Lane. We're at Freddie Lane Live if you need to follow our shows thereafter. Rez Talk is of the Lhaq'temish. It's a weekly Lummi community talk show. And it's for, of, and about the Lhaq'temish people. In no way does it reflect the opinions of the leaders of the Lummi Nation, the Lummi New Business Council. We're here as community members, as community leaders, elders, as veterans, as tribal youth. And so we just want to let everyone know that this is our way of communicating as general counsel, as we have some pretty big meetings coming up here. And so we just want to provide a great avenue. Really appreciate all those that joined us. If you want to join us and you'd like to post some of your LIBC 2022 priorities, as you know, each year, we host the annual General Council the first Saturday of January. And so this year, the GC fell on the New Year Day. And so it either was postponed. I haven't heard because of the high transmission rate of COVID. If you haven't gotten your vaccination, please do so. I implore you. On behalf of your elders, your veterans, your families, your children, please get vaccinated. It looks like there's vaccination clinics every Wednesday coming up here at Lummi Nation. Our next show, we're shooting for every Tuesday, so we'll be on next Tuesday. I'm hoping to invite members of the Lummi Budget Committee to come on and join us as representatives of the Lummi General Council. They represent each and every one of you, all 5,320 tribal members. And we have issues that we think that our commissions, boards, and committee chair representatives we'd appreciate a meeting. And so we'll do the call out right now for next week's meeting. But in the meantime, I'm going to open the floor to anybody that's on live with us. There is a few of us online. You could join us too if you'd like to voice your words here to the people of the Lummi community. Again, we're just here to provide an avenue to help us better communicate a little bit with each other. And so I guess I'll start. Happy New Year's to each and every one of you. Love from our house to your house. We wish you well on behalf of our Eagle clan, our Lane family. My big brothers and big sisters, I know they would share Happy New Year's. As a lot of you know, a lot of our families are affected by these quarantines that are happening here in the community. And so just really wish everyone a wonderful 2022. And what do I think the LIBC 2022 priorities should be? For me, I really feel that addressing poverty, addressing the poor, addressing those that live here with us in this third world country and the greatest country in the world. I think we need our voice, and we need our voice to be heard. And that's what I hope to continue to do. I've always felt communications is the very most important priority for 2022. I think accountability, transparency is very important. Why do we keep talking about it? Why do I keep bringing it up? It's because I believe in our people. and our people deserve the very, very best. And yet our own non-tribal employees that work for the nation have better health care than us as the Lummi Indians. And I think that's wrong. And I think we should stop dodging and start putting our money where our mouth is. And I'm really glad we're having these discussions. If I offend anybody, I'm not sorry. I'd apologize, but I really think that with the referendum, I think that that spoke volume to the 639 tribal members that signed. And I'm not going to stop. And so the priorities, we've been in a public health state of emergency on the heroin epidemic. That was in 2017, everybody, just so you know. So we got 2 public health states of emergency, and we're dealing pretty good with one, but what about our relatives that are addicted? What about our families that are affected? And so I think really addressing the issues of the very poor here at Lummi, I think addressing the voices of the people and the needs. And I think, and I believe that a priority really needs to happen with these important issues that are facing each and every one of us and our families. And so I guess I did more than 4 minutes. What was that, Irene? Irene, you want to go next? Go ahead, take it away, Irene. 4 minutes, Irene.
I just snat everybody and Happy New Year. Qualtilamats and a snat. As many of you may or may not know, I was in California for about 7 weeks, and I just got back last week. Came back to this freezing cold, didn't want to come back. But I'm grateful to be alive, and I'm grateful to have all of you, and wish we could all be together as one like we always have been. It's been really hard on a lot of people, and I know a lot of people have been depressed, and it's very understandable, but I just want everybody to continue to be strong and have the courage and strength to be there for your families and your community, and not be afraid to voice your opinions, because it's high time that the General Counsel got their voices back. I believe the #1 priority for our council and for General Counsel is changing the Constitution to give power back to the General Counsel. It should be their #1 priority. LIBC has gotten away with ignoring the GC and doing their own thing without GC input or agreement for far too long. No one can be trusted to do what's best for all members enrolled within the Lummi Nation when our voices have been muted for too long. And it's because the Constitution says that we may only recommend, and they use that to their advantage, not to ours. And not knowing what they're doing with all this COVID relief money that they receive, they act like it's their money and that they don't have to report anything to the General Counsel. And it gets really frustrating and then angers a lot of us, especially those of us that are still involved and want to continue to be involved. And we just need to find a way to get back to the way it was when my parents and a lot of our ancestors before us, they were so kind and so loving and so giving, but nowadays they act like they're being attacked, and oh, poor me, everybody's being so mean to me. But if they would just communicate, open up they always say, oh, our door is always open, but you go up to the council office and the doors are locked and you can't even get back there unless you're announced. And so it's just so frustrating to all of us that we can't communicate the way we used to. When I was younger, I can remember all those meetings that my father would go to, and he would come back and talk about how they were so good with each other, and taking care of all of the people was what was most important to all of them. And it just doesn't feel like that. They may say that their intentions are good, but we don't know that because they're not communicating to us. So I believe our number one priority should be changing the Constitution. OCM.
Yeah, thank you, Irene. That's real important points there. Auntie Shirley, would you like to add?
She's muted.
Okay.
She may not realize it.
Okay, Elvin. Elvin? Anybody else want to raise their hand on the Zoom just to add?
Hey, I was outside for a minute. I was taking some boxes out. Kind of update on me what you were asking.
Well, we're just doing a New Year's wishes, Happy New Year's to the community, and then we're opening the mic on what do you think the 2022 LIBC priorities might be taken into consideration by council.
Oh yeah, okay. Thank you and Happy New Year's to everybody. We're on our 9th day of quarantine here. We got struck with the COVID and just thankful to be alive and surviving this pandemic. And I even had a weird dream last night about this, about getting off this quarantine and being out there and not wearing my mask and getting all shook up because I didn't have my
You went muted there, Alvin.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah. Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Sorry, I had a phone call coming in, but I didn't answer. But it said the speaker would like you to speak. But yeah, I just thankful for today, and but I just thinking about the homeless people. It's these last 9 days, like I said, I've been on quarantine, so I haven't left my house. But the first snowstorm we had, I was out and about a lot, and getting groceries for our home and for my siblings across the street from me, and for my daughter and my granddaughter, and seen a lot of people walking, a lot of homeless people out there. And and some of the council members that were running during their debate, they talked about homelessness. And I think about Cheryl Sanders when we sat at the tables there. Cheryl said, if you want to know what's going on, ride the bus and see what our people are going through. And I've been adamant about it. I know what people care and what people don't care about our people. They'll sit on that table and talk about how they care, but once they get behind their table, they're different. They have a different vision. And I want to put that out there. We got homeless people. I walk outside every day and hear my sister's generator running every day, and she don't have no power, no water and sewer. Sure, she may not have been the best Lummi citizen there is, but who is? Who are we to judge? She's still my sister, and just trying to get her power and water and sewer. And I told my cousins, I said, I'm just doing what my Uncle Art, what my uncles would do for my mom. I'm just trying to be that brother to help my sister, you know, and it kind of makes me emotional, you know, because what are we doing for our people, you know? And I think about our some of our programs out here. What are we doing for them? What are we doing? What's the care office doing? And I'll say it on here, and I'm going to bring it publicly. There's some of them staff members that have been getting paid 22 months and haven't stepped foot into the building. You know, and that's sad. Where's their integrity? And we're allowing it. There's people out there that need help, you know, and they say they're helping the people, but are they really? Do we need to be paid to help our people, or do we want to help our people? You know, and I don't mean to just get on here and vent, but those are some of the things that are on my heart. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, Heiska, Elvin, you bring up some really good points. I always share this story with, you know, young people when I just about died 6 years ago, and that was my dad came and seen me in the hospital, and our late chief told me about, you know, when you're in such a place, you might have visitors from the other side, but when my dad came and visited, he told me, he said, "Don't forget to take care of your poor Indian people, son." His exact words, I'll never forget them. And there's a lot of people out here. We know a lot of them. They live down the street from us. They're living in fifth wheel trailers. They don't have running water. They don't have a running toilet. You know, these are real life stories in right now here in 2022. And so I really appreciate you bringing up these other issues. And it's okay to you know, vent. It's okay. I don't know any other avenue that we're able to communicate, and so this is just our way of letting the community know, hey, we see you, we're watching, and you know, our community needs continued advocacy of our local leaders. And so I don't see anybody else's hand. Anybody else want to say anything? Jesse, I see your iPad there. I seen you on earlier, my elder. Lavon, anybody?
Jessie just raised her hand.
Okay, Jesse, go ahead. Go ahead and unmute, Jesse. There you go. Go ahead, Jesse.
I'm just on this meeting to listen what's going on, to get the scoop. I know we have issues about everything and under the sun, and that's what I'm here to listen for, to help in any way I can.
Yeah, what do you think some of the priorities might be, Jesse? I know you're on the school board. For those of you that don't know, Jesse is our Ferndale school board member. Thank you for listening, Jesse. Just you know, what do you think a priority should be, Jesse? Coming from our elder, ACM.
I think everything is a priority. Health, education, Myself, I'm in an old home. It's probably 100 years or more. We keep putting Band-Aids on it. And I think I'm not the only one. I see a lot of people some people are requesting ramps, elderly and the sickly and whatever. I think we need a service for ramps for sure for people that are having a hard time. And I know I had a hard time when I had my stroke, and I came out of the hospital and they said, you're not going home unless you have a ramp built or you'll go in a rest home. So it took us a few days to get the money together. I would hope this would be something that's on the list, you know, for the council to look at. Our people are getting older, and a lot of people don't ask for help. And a lot of people need that help. They need to know where to go to. That's what's on my list for now. I know everybody knows there's a drug problem and drug dealers. We need jobs. But that would be my priority. It's really simple. You know, if somebody wants to go and have a company or a business built, to have their support would be nice.
Yeah. That's a really good point. That's a really good point, Jesse. I really appreciate your comments. Hey, this is Rez Talk of the Lhaq'temish. It's our weekly Lummi community town hall talk show of, for, and about the Lummi Nation. We're talking about 2022 priorities of the Lummi General Council. And as many of you know, our General Council meeting should be scheduled for this Saturday. But due to the high number cases of COVID, I just, some news you might be able to use. I haven't seen a public health update, nor have I was able to listen to any of the public health updates. But Dr. Lane, Dr. Dakota, Dr. Mamusia is joining us. We just asked him to join us because of our high number COVID rates. And so Dr. Lane, if you can give us, if you can give us the community an update. I know it's been a while, and I know you guys are busy with vaccination clinics. And I mentioned to you about rapid tests running out over Christmas. And so what kind of update can you give us? Go ahead, Dr. Lane, unmute.
Hey, Uncle Fred. Hey, it's thanks for inviting me. Thank you for having me. And I'm sorry about we're working. We're always working to get our announcements out faster. But right now, it's easy to say that we are in the middle of hopefully the peak of the Omicron wave. We officially have 195 active COVID cases, 195. That's as of today. It's higher. We had a slight dip. It was 165 on Monday, a slight dip to 113 yesterday. And then we did a bunch of new tests, and now we're at 195 today. We have 14 candidates for infusions, and which is our highest ever. And the reason why it's high is because we had not received our shipment of infusions that are able to treat the Omicron variant. Our previous infusion was Regeneron, which is one that makes in the media. Regeneron is basically useless against Omicron. So we had to update it. We had to wait for this new shipment of a new type of monoclonal antibodies. Lummi is one of only 2 organizations that are doing it in the county. The other one is Infusion Solutions. And Infusion Solutions has a wait list of 100 people. So we are very fortunate to have this treatment. Let's see, what else? All of our quarantine homes are full. Our clinic is, like the rest of the country, is affected by the staffing and quarantine guidelines. For the CDC recently reached out to, the CDC released new quarantine guidelines a few days ago that really threw a wrench in our own quarantine guidelines. I think it was where they have 5 to 7 day quarantines. Some of it makes sense. Some of it is probably not appropriate for Lummi. I'd like to remind everybody on this this call that Lummis actually have a higher risk given our multi-generational households. We are very much a community-oriented group of people. And so this virus just places us at a higher risk. This quarantine guidelines, we think, place us at a higher risk. We likely will update it as our numbers improve. But right now, the 10-day quarantine that we're offering or recommending is what we're going to stick with for now. We likely will change it with time, but right now it's just not the right time to reduce our quarantine. I will say, actually, I'll just stop there. There's some other things I'd like to talk about the school, but I'll stop there. And if you have any questions, Uncle Fred, or if anybody on this call has questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Sure. Why don't you just keep going, Dr. Mamusia? Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So the school, I know, has closed, and they, much like some of the other areas, they're struggling with staffing issues. I will say our public health team is working closely with them to get the school open as fast as possible. We are concerned. The school plays such a central role, one, with getting kids for the mental health of our kids, and two, allowing parents to go to work. And so we fully recognize the role the school plays. So I'm working closely with Bernie, and hopefully we can get something together to keep the school open. And that's really the last thing I was going to say.
Yeah, there are some very I was watching Dr. Fauci there right before Christmas there, and he said, I wouldn't be surprised if we hit 1 million cases a day, which yesterday, wow, that's pretty amazing that we've hit 1 million cases a day here in the United States. But Dr. Lane, what are we? Are we in phase 1? Are we in phase 2? Are we going back into lockdown? I think that's what, a lot of people are really talking about, the measures that the nation is taking. I don't have people come to the house anymore. I don't shake hands. I go to the grocery store and come back home. But what would you like to share with the community about how we're continuing to mitigate this Omicron surge?
Yeah, thank you. That's a good point and good question. One of the things I will say is this is our 5th wave, and I know it's exhausting. I know it's especially taken away a lot of our gatherings and our traditional ways. But I know this. I just want to let people know that we will get through this. We'll get through it together. There will be a day where we can gather again in the ways we used to, in the ways that we do in the past. We just have to understand that COVID set the rules. So we're just playing by their rules. And the good news is, 2 years ago, we didn't know what the rules are. Now we know what the rules are. And so the most important thing is to understand that with this Omicron variant, the vaccines, those who are vaccinated, those who are boosted, do have protection. They do. It appears that you will likely, you may get symptoms if you get infected, but that vaccines does exactly what it advertised and what it was done for the trials, which is to minimize severe disease and prevent death. And by severe disease, they mean like hospitalizations and things like that. So the vaccines are doing their job. I have not heard, I'm usually a day or two behind in terms of hospitalizations, but at the moment, I'm unaware of any Lummies that have been hospitalized for COVID. They've been hospitalized for other health issues, but not for COVID. And speaking of hospitalizations, as of this morning, the Peace Health Hospital, our local hospital, has 47 active, 47 inpatient admissions for COVID, which is the highest ever number. And in terms of risk to our community, probably the biggest risk is actually COVID is a risk, but the larger risk is having the hospital be overwhelmed. And I can tell you it's not from Lummi, it's from a lot of the surrounding communities that aren't taking as many of the COVID safety measures that we're doing. I know it doesn't feel like it feels like we're not doing much, but when we look at the surrounding communities, we're actually doing a lot better. And so that's what we need to do to protect the hospital. Because if the hospital is overwhelmed, that means if you have a heart attack, stroke, car accident, there's a chance you may get substandard care because of all the COVID patients, which are requiring a lot of resources. The other interesting thing is it doesn't look like Omicron is causing a lot of, in the very beginning of the pandemic. Oh shoot! I'm sorry, Uncle Fred. I'm on call tonight, so I have to step off.
No problem.
I want to thank you for your time. I got to take this call.
No problem. Come back on when you can. We'll be here, Dr.
Okay.
Mamucia. Thank you. That was our Lummi Public Health update for today, Wednesday, January 5th, 2022. If you're just joining us, hey, welcome. We're coming up on our second hour of our Lummi Town Hall. This is Rez Talk of the Lhaq'temish. It's a weekly Lummi community talk show of, for, and about the Lhaq'temish people, our people, and in no way reflects the opinions of the Lummi Nation, the LIBC, its employees, or any of its entities. We're just providing an avenue for our community to hear from community leaders and hear from the General Counsel and hear from hopefully more public officials in the future. But we're all here as General Counsel members. Our GC meeting, our annual, is supposed to be this week. And so we're going to continue on with the priorities that we were talking about before Dr. Lane was able to join us. And so when we were talking about the priorities for the nation, we were talking about 2022. And so what are your top 3 priorities? I'm going to go to the chat and Levon, go ahead and unmute and
hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes, go ahead, Levon.
Okay, so one of the priorities that I see is, and I know you guys kind of touched on it, but it's the elders. For example, my mother has been living without lights and water for, probably good, I'd say 12, 13 years. And it's so bad that we had to actually go up there and put boards over the windows and the inside, like the snow was blowing in her house. That's how bad it was. It was warmer sleeping outside. And being an elder who's on SSI, she couldn't make her way into town. It's been really hard. And so without power, she's unable to charge her phone, so she missed her phone interview. It's been really hard because I work and try to provide for my family, you know what I mean? So it's really hard. And so she is now cut off SSI. So now we've got an elder who, one, her place is falling apart around her and doesn't even have means to buy food. Like we had to gather up what we could to bring her, whatever we could for her to eat. And everybody had to chip in for gas, for the generator. So there are people out there that are struggling. And I know she's not the only one, but I mean, it's just, when I'm looking at help for the community, it's not for myself, you know? Of course, issues, and you'll have us out there that are really, really struggling. And so I just wanted to bring that forward, and, that's a really important topic out here, making sure that our elders are taken care of, especially in weather like this.
Yeah, those are really good points, Navon. I think we all know an elder, we all know a family member. I was actually, I did the Lummi Community Services, the new Commod Squad calendar. If you haven't picked it up, I actually helped design that for the Commod Squad for the last 5 years. And on the back page is all the phone numbers of the majority of the directors, the CBC, the CBCs, and their staff, and when they meet. And I think we really need a resource center, some sort of resource, rather than going to the tribe. I almost been thinking about creating like a community help page, a Lummi community help. And just like you said, there's a lot of really, there's good people here on the res. There are good people that will come and help. And, I think if we had better ways of getting these resources, you're absolutely right. We say we take care of our elders. Let's take care of our elders. And so, did you have anything else to add?
Not at this time. I just wanted to let everybody know that, there are people out there struggling, and it's hurtful when you hear people in the community say, oh, everybody just wants a handout. And that's not really how it is. You know what I mean? That hurts when you hear that, because that right there might scare somebody from asking for help, because they don't want to be called down or they don't want to be judged. And like you're saying, if there was some type of a resource network put together for our people to be able to reach out, I think that would be real beneficial. So I agree with that. And I really like that. That's an awesome idea.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate your words, Lavon. If you're just joining us, you can come and join us live on our event page. It's the Lummi Town Hall number 3 for January 5th. And on the event page on Facebook, you can find the link. And if you want to contact me and you want to come on and you don't have Facebook, anybody can share this link. I really encourage anybody to share their link, because this is just one avenue that I hope in 2022 that we're able to hear the voices of the people and hear what the talk of the res is. And Mr. Eldon, 2797, Eldon, is that you?
Yeah.
Go ahead,
yeah,
Eldon.
I really appreciate. Can you hear me, Fred?
Yeah, we got you. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, I don't know if I'm double muted half the time or not. So really appreciate the platform that you're making available for the community. And, you know, when I heard our relative talk about the issues with her home and the age of her home, you know, it brought back, you know, the BIA used to give the tribes funding, home improvement dollars that weren't tied to which seems like everything is tied to the HUD money. You got to be on a HUD home. You got to be owed, still got to owe on your home to get any kind of, you know, assistance or even to get recognized. And that HIP money was provided for those older homes like she's talking about, and giving them not only the repairs and improvements, but, you know, and then the housing board chose to put it aside, and they were giving out replacement homes as long as, you know, the old home was removed. They'd put a new home up for the elder. And I don't know if that still exists or not, but it's one of the things that, you know, hopefully we can look into. But, you know, it's really hard to do anything with the housing authority because the council some years ago made them an independent entity, and they don't even have to get their work plan, their plans approved by general counsel or council. They can just do what they seemed necessary. They do have a meeting for people to voice their opinions, but there's no real true form of getting acceptance except with the housing board. And I don't know who's on the housing board these days, but I think it's one of the things that should be a priority this year, because the need is so expanding, and not everybody wants to live into a HUD home. They want to be more independent and free in their lives. So that definitely should be one of the priorities. And, you know, I heard some time ago that they were going to develop not only the Suboxone, but also the Methadone, and to talk about, what do they call that they need in the big detox center. But there's never hear anything mentioned about that. And the detox is the first step, because, you know, you hear a lot about this fentanyl and that it's being used widespread, and it seems to be more damaging to the systems, and they need some type of detox to start that red path of recovery. So, you know, it should be another one of the priority, because, you know, for me personally, not one of our tribal members are disposable. They're all human beings, and none of us are perfect. You know, we should be able to hold them up and help them in that road and path that they choose. So, you know, that would be my second priority, would be to help in any way that we see possible for them to to get on that path that they choose to improve their lives on. And then the other thing is that, you know, we used to hear a lot about transparency and the need to communicate to the community. And, you know, I totally understand that the pandemic changed our whole world, but there still has to be avenues to utilize. You know, my thought was that the print, you know, I'm not an electronics guy. I'm having trouble figuring out an iPad for remote learning next week. The grandson is 5 years old, and he's got a little bit more knowledge and understanding of it than I do. But we're still challenged with not enough internet for him to be operational. So, you know, that transparency needs to happen so we can, because there's been a lot of funding that's been made available through the federal government. And, you know, where is it? I know we all were appreciative of that little bit of help that we got this last year, but there's still budgets being approved and the like. And, you know, a lot of us with little means are still struggling and challenged. I was going to try to call that, I think the abbreviation is SNAP, because when they gave out some food funding for school-age kids, it was really helpful. Got us over those edges. It gave us the latitude to not have to get into the food bank line as frequently as we were, because we were there every time they opened their doors. But with that SNAP food funding, you know, it made it, and other people could benefit from the food bank, and we could, you know, start to feel like we're taking care of ourselves with that assistance. And so I think a review for general counsel of all the federal funding that's come to the tribe should be a priority, and to get back to what used to be transparency, because it seems like with the cloak of COVID, things happen more frequently than behind closed doors than we probably even know. So those are my 3 priorities that I would like to see discussed at the annual general council meeting, when and if it happens. Thanks.
You heard it, when and if it happens. I haven't heard I haven't heard or seen even a poster. I just know that I've been a general council member since 1986, and pretty much have gone to every January general council. And I'm not sure if there's going to be an annual report, or if it's going to be a 150-page document that we'll have to do a document dump on. I don't know. But I really appreciate your insight, Eldon, and you bring up some really good points. Again, it's I don't know. Have we been talking about this really for 30 years? I don't know any nicer way to say that. But I guess we'll keep fighting. I really like Irene's comments about the Constitution. I think it's time for the people to take back their power, and I think this time of COVID is going to pass, and we have to come out stronger, and hopefully we'll be a little bit more united. Let's see, we're taking your comments. If you're just joining us live online, you can join our conversation live. Just go to the Zoom link, and if you know how to raise your hand, we're talking about the 2020 LIBC priorities for the coming year. And each year, the treasurer is supposed to have a meeting, a public hearing to hear what the priorities from the general counsel are supposed to be. But that meeting hasn't happened in the past month. And so we're just publicly sharing what the priorities should be and sharing our New Year's wishes. And we'll go to our next general council member, councilwoman, Pierre.
Good evening, everyone. I'm actually here as a tribal member, but I just posted something in the chat because my priority has been always for workforce development. And prior to being on council, I worked on the construction of a tribal training and technology center. And I know that, you know, the priority for care and wellness and self-sufficiency all kind of is wrapped around into providing an opportunity for our people to become trained in whatever employment skills they want to pursue. And as you know, we have colleges, we have access to higher education, but vocational training and soft skill training and things like that, that help people that are either coming out of recovery or just haven't ever been in the workplace. The opportunity will be presented if we build that tribal training and technology center. The current director has finalized the design of the facility, and it's slated to be about $7 million. And I think that needs to be a priority for our people because, you know, like we've heard, you know, people, you know, even if we were to hold a construction class of people that are willing to donate their time to even do repair on our elders' homes. And so you could give back to your community, but learn the job skills at the same time. I mean, that's what this facility could bring to our tribe. We've tried over time and time again to have vocational training. You know, we've had a couple of grants that had the youth bill that tried to integrate some of the carpentry and things in helping the youth gain job skills. But I think that, you know, if we could get this facility built, it will add and help prevent a lot of the things that we're seeing now. And it's just going to be there for our people, and they don't have to be afraid. A lot of people get anxiety about having to go to Bellingham Technical College or anywhere outside of the res. And I think this facility will provide that opportunity for our people. And also the opportunity for our youth. Many of our youth don't have the, I guess, the bridge or the stepping stones to figure out what it is they want to do. Not everybody wants to go into higher education. So by having a facility like this, it can help expose them to these trades that they might want to pursue. So I just wanted to say that because, you know, I really want to see this come to fruition with this next year and this council that's coming up. You know, I don't know my status right now, where I'm kind of in limbo here, but I'm not here to talk about that tonight. But, you know, my priorities for our community has always been to build our people up by giving them the skills they need to be self-sufficient, and to also integrate the strengths, you know, and the soft skills that I talked about to overcome their fears by being able to work with their peers and learn from one another. So I just think that's that has to continue to be a priority. The other thing I was asking earlier was, I really want to know what's happening with the PPE. I remember last year, you know, we don't have to reinvent the wheel here, because when we had an influx of cases, the program stepped up and started providing the PPE for our families. And I just wanted to know if that was happening, or if anybody knows if they're doing that, because I'm kind of left in the dark here. I don't know what's happening at the council level. But I too I support the change in the Constitution. just, you know, having to work within the boundaries of that, I also support that the power of our general counsel needs to have a voice. And then the other thing that I wanted to bring up, because I heard the comment about accessibility to care for our people. One of the things that has been important to me is access to recovery and access to methadone. I know that we kind of got boxed ourselves in, and I know that the clinic has been trying to open the opportunity for people to pursue the medication, Suboxone, or whatever it is they might need at the clinic. So I just want to continue to encourage that, because we don't want to box ourselves in and have everybody have to go to care, because not everybody feels comfortable going there. So if we can expand the opportunity and provide the medicine they need wherever it is they want to go. I know that the last I heard, we were busing 100 people down to Lhaq'temish. And so I just wanted to support that opportunity for us to, I guess, increase I guess to provide the opportunity at the clinic or wherever it is that our people feel comfortable in going. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Pierre. Appreciate your insight there, and appreciate you coming on and joining us in our community live discussion. I didn't see anybody. Does anybody else have any questions that are on the Zoom call? We got just under 20 of us online. And if you know how to raise your hand, please do. Remember, we're here as general council members, and we're just here voicing our concerns for the 2022 priorities. So if I think we'll do a post online, and we'll ask people to comment as well. But I just was looking back at October 24th, 2020. If nobody else has their hand up.
Irene has her hand
go ahead, Irene.
So back in 2017, I tried to arrange for a general council meeting to ask council to report to the general council what their goals and objectives were, what their priorities were going to be, and what their measurable outcomes from those goals and objectives would be for that year. And that if they presented it at the annual general council meeting, all we would have to do is have a general council meeting every 3 months to get an update on where they were at in succeeding in achieving those goals and objectives. That general council meeting never happened. They didn't want it to happen because that meant they were really going to have to be accountable to the general council for what work they were working on and how they were going to do it and how it was going to benefit the tribe. I also asked for a succession plan. We are one of the few tribes in the whole United States that has from birth to death right here on the reservation. We're not utilizing those facilities to the best of our ability in order to prepare our children for their futures in whatever they decide to go into once they've reached the end of their matriculation, whether it's high school or college or trade school. We need to be coordinating with all of these educational facilities to prepare our children for their future. We have that ability to do that through a succession plan. And I just feel like we're failing ourselves. We're not giving ourselves the proper education and realization that they can be whatever they want to be. if we would just give them the opportunity to see themselves for that. So I don't know how you all feel, but I feel like if the council would give us that information at the general council meeting and spend that annual general council meeting hearing from each and every 11 of them to tell us what their goals and objectives are, what committees and commissions they sit on, what their measurable outcomes will be. And all we have to do is get updates from them every 3 months. Makes sense to me. I hope it makes sense to you, Aishka.
Can you say that over again, Irene? I'm just kidding. You know, I love you, Rose. You know, you bring up some very powerful points. I know a lot of times we've been just in one ear and out the other, or I wish we can create a new mechanism. I know you and I have, and over the years, we've talked about an office of the general counsel, where somebody like Irene and another staffer, a couple of deputy general counsel representatives that can go to every CBC meeting, that know how to type notes and provide executive summaries of our CBC meetings, and if they're meeting and what their report is. It's really not rocket science, and I know you know it too, Irene. It just takes a little bit of determination. I know we've been talking about this for 20 years. Hopefully we won't be talking about it for another 20 years. It's sad, but it's true. And so this is Rez Talk of the Lhaq'temish. It's our weekly Lummi community talk show for, of, and about the great Lhaq'temish people. We're Lhaq'temish. We live here on the Lummi Indian Reservation. Again, in no way does any of the commentary or any of the comments from anybody directly reflect the opinions of LIBC, the nation, its staff, or its leaders in no way, and that we're here as general council members in a good way. And so, again, I really appreciate all of our 20 participants and our couple of dozen relatives online listening, and what our discussion is, the 2022 priorities for the nation. And you as a enrolled member of the nation and your kids, you should be writing letters and dropping them off at the tribal center and sign them and put your address and put your on a blank sheet of paper, just a blank old sheet of paper, and just handwrite it with your enrollment number and your children's enrollment number, and share what your priorities and why. And it very powerful when you get a few hundred letters, a few hundred signatures from the community. And so did you have your hand raised again, Eldon, or?
Levon also has a question in the chat.
Okay.
If that hasn't
No,
been
I just don't know how to put it down.
Oh. Okay, yeah. Right click and lower hand. And I'm going to quickly go through these really quick. It's 6:23. Let's see how many minutes this can take me. These are the priorities coming from community members from online. And if you'll bear with me, I have my monitor over here. Mike Burrows said, number one, stop dragging our feet when it comes to our economic development. Our inability to act upon business opportunity maintains our reliance on the US government, which is keeping our people down and sick. Number two, he says, education. There isn't a reason why our children should be going to other schools to get their education, hire better qualified teachers, enforce discipline, and keep our culture alive. And number 3, shrink council and their entourage. It's ridiculous that we have as many council members as, say, Choctaw Nation, which covers 11 counties in Oklahoma. The insanity gets worse when you look at how overpaid council is and the fleecing of our tribe with outrageous budgets. Thank you, Mike, for your comments. Lucy London says, eliminate racism in our cities that are neighbors, eliminate the politics, tribal positions, not paying so much dollars to council members, judicial sector, address and eliminate homelessness, private college classes on how to run our casino. Native, we need more Native supervisors, mental health training for our tribal police, parenting classes, family events, again, at the community building, more freaking powwows. Thank you, Lucy London, for your comments there. And Barbara Burns, she says, let all tribal members vote, which I'm assuming she's saying vote in tribal elections. And it says, help tribal members that live outside Whatcom County as well. Christy George added. Gerald Torres says, thank you for your suggestions for the priorities, Gerald. Taking care of the elders, taking care of the children, and accountability within our leadership. Thank you, Gerald. Paul Klein says, breakthrough with the pandemic relief, dominate green energy commercially, symbolic education and healthcare systems, overall be a leader in sustainability, stewardship, and sovereignty. Thank you, Paul. Geneva Lane says, I think we need to make a place for our people to sell their arts and crafts. Transgiving treatment should go. Thank you, Geneva. And Roberta Hall says, I have to agree with William Jefferson. Also, I don't believe we need 11 people on council when really there should only be 5 or 7. Transparency is a must, especially when rumors are flying about 9 or 11 are possibly embezzling. Oh God. Also, there should be requirements of having a degree from a tribal college or university to be a council member. They need a new website, the Tribal Council, a place for tribal resources for enrolled members. I have to agree with that. Thank you, Roberta, for those great suggestions. Mabel Ray just outright says no more embezzling. Amy Fair, number 1, fight the drug epidemic. Number 2, water rights. And number 3, protecting Cherry Point, Cochiacan. Thank you, Amy Fair, for your top 3. Karen Williams says, update the Constitution, stop the steal. We need to begin to heal. And so thank you, Karen Williams, for your comment. And Lucille Spencer, Auntie Lucille, says, our elder says, let's talk about elder abuse. This is all on the public page. This all posted. I'm just reading the comments. Bob Julius, honesty, volunteers, and caring. Thank you, Bob. Teresa Bob. All right, so first step, fix the council. Second, talk to General Counsel to help fix the problems. Teresa Moreau. Thank you, Teresa, for your comments. Really appreciate that. Teresa Moreau, address drug addiction, address homelessness, and help our families. Thank you, Ms. Moreau, for your comments. Again, these are our 2022 suggestions, comments, priorities that we'd like to address to the council. We're doing a public fashion here. I'm going to finish up here with a few more. Daryl Fair says, list and organize all these needs and wants to be in a presentable form. The council meet with the people for as long as it takes in as many forums as necessary to reach as many Lummis as possible, to prioritize and come to a common understanding of what would be the best way forward, to request the tribal organization to develop plans and timelines to get us to our goals. Haphazard problem solving is a problem in itself. This would take an act of leadership. Thank you, Daryl Fair. I really appreciate that. Wow. Really hit it there. Georgie Girl, Reevy. Honestly, how our tribal members move up into management positions at all stores, casinos, like everywhere, but our reservation doesn't. Putting our people in homes, especially when they have children, like my grandparents used to say, it takes a tribe to take care of a child. I get sick to my stomach seeing how little respect our own system thinks of their own people. How do you expect others to treat our people with respect if it's even if our own people can't? Even if our own people can't. Let me read that last part to you from Georgie Reevy. How do you expect others to treat our people with respect if our own people can't? If our own people can't. And then finally, Pinner, Elaine Wilbur, she's heard many things in the community to get together for like Citizens Patrol, maybe get a group to start this for our reservation might be really nice. Thank you. Thank you, Pinner, for and everybody that commented. Again, this is all public. It was on my, I asked the question on the Lummi page. If you go back to October 24th, just type in Lummi 2022 priorities and it should come up, and it was on the Lummi page. And so I appreciate all those that shared their priorities.
So you have a couple more comments on the Facebook page.
You want to go ahead and read them, Deb?
Okay, so Sandra Burra says to protect our spiritual ways of life and our spiritual songs. Then Teresa Bob had a question regarding flood victims. And Levon also still has a question on the general counsel in the chat. Okay. Or I mean the Constitution, I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you, Deb. For those of you that don't know, Deb has been a good friend. I met her back in 2007 when we was hosting the first ever Tribal Journeys. And Deb was a part of our Community Connections Committee. There were 3 of us, and we moved mountains, and now she's helping me and I help her in all of our social community justice forums that we're a part of. And she's been a great help with our live feeds and helping us along the way. And she's with our friends at the Bellingham Unitarian Fellowship. Just wanted to do a shout out there, Deb. And go ahead, Levon. Or was it in the chat? Sorry.
It's in the chat. She had asked what has been done to establish. Oh, no, that's not the question. That's another one. I had to do with the Constitution. Where'd it go?
I see it.
Oh, when was the Constitution changed and the power taken away from the General Counsel? And can we see some documentation of the General Counsel's approval of this change?
Good question.
And she does have another one in there after that. So I don't know if you want to try to tackle that one or.
Okay, we'll just, we're coming from the chat box here. And what has been done to establish an office of the General Counsel, question mark. This would be helpful for the people to have someone to represent them and our needs. And Sarah says, where do we bring the letter to? I would bring the letter to if you have any way of contacting, putting it in an envelope. The easiest is to either message Secretary Lewis, Nicholas Lewis, and we can, and you can message me if you have a letter and you want me to, you want to put it in an envelope and I can pick it up. I know it's COVID time. I don't let anybody in my house, but if you'd like me to hand deliver it, I would be more than honored to provide that for you as well. And so you could just message me and type out your letter, and make sure you put your address and your enrollment number. And you know, we always ask everyone to be kind and say nice things, but things are pretty tough out here. And so really appreciate you writing a letter. And then how do we keep track of the paper trail to make sure it isn't lost in someone's desk? How about, I'm a problem solver. Make sure the letter's signed too. That's real important. You can't just type a letter and it not be signed. One other problem solving that we can do, and as General Counsel members, I'm always willing to help. I have a scanner, or if you have a scanner, you want to sign it and scan me a copy, I will help keep track of them. And maybe I'll give one to Irene. How does that sound, Irene? And at least we're just trying to figure things out, because you're absolutely right. Things get lost on somebody's desk. And so let's do that. If you feel comfortable sharing the letter. I'm just going to start sharing my letters publicly. I'm going to send them a digital copy and bring them a hard copy. And I think, Irene, that's a good question. I think I would address it to the council, right, Irene? And give it to Teresa Butler to make sure that it's put in a Dropbox and delivered to each council member, correct?
That's always been a problem at our meetings. People bring up situations or problems, suggestions at general council meetings, and never to get a response. Like you said earlier, it just falls on deaf ears and nothing changes. And the people are getting frustrated with that. And I believe, you know, a big change is about to be set forth back to the way we were when we were a lot smaller.
Yeah, thank you, Irene. I guess just again, moving forward, Sarah, thank you. To make sure that it isn't lost on somebody's desk. That is just great. I will never forget that. I have another comment from Jesse. Recession to begin in the home first. What is the students' plan? Ferndale School District help their students develop their plan. It would be good for LIBC also to have a plan for students to jump in whenever possible. Thank you, Jesse. And then Melanie added, when are we bringing back the grants for small businesses and housing? People still need help. And so I really appreciate that. I appreciate that, Melanie. And
Kathy and Eldon also have their hands raised.
Okay, Kathy. Councilwoman Pierre, go ahead.
Yeah, you know, I didn't want to get into this online, but, you know, I feel like that embezzlement term keeps getting thrown around. That stemmed from this investigation from K&L Gates. And you can embezzle when a person applies for a program and gets approved. And that's what happened. A lot of our folks that received letters to pay it back, actually, all they did was fill out an application that was approved by Department of Treasury that guided the allocation of those funds to tribal members that applied. That's not embezzlement. Somehow, you know, the gossip went around because the LABC controlled the narrative and did what they did by boarding up the building and firing the staff without even any investigation, without any evidence. You know, and all that's going to come out later, but, you know, there is no embezzlement. And I wish that people that have been targeted to have to pay that back could find their voice to stand up for themselves. Somehow along the line, we have to start protecting those people, because you heard the last time they're using attorneys that we pay out of tribal hard dollars to attack our own people. And that really upsets me. When we talk about love and care for our people, and this is what's happening at the council level. You know, and I've had to stay quiet because we had gag orders and we can't defend ourselves. But the Facebook posts that people say, they just run rapid. They don't even know the details. They're just going off of gossip and breach of confidentiality. And it saddens me because there's 9 women that have been terminated. Young women with families and children to support. And they haven't had their time to speak and voice their side of the story, because LIBC is the ones that have the money in their pockets to pay the attorneys. Our people don't have that. So I just also want to mention, you know, that burden of these, some of our elders, some of our families, you know, that renter's assistance was designed for Indian country. Those application, that guidance, those things were all approved by Department of Treasury, and our tribe took it upon themselves to do an investigation because there was select few. Yes, they work for LABC and they received the renter's assistance, but we all know our living conditions. We live in multi-generational homes because there is not enough housing. And you heard that has been always an unaddressed need. Not everybody wants to live in a HUD home. And they're living in these small trailers and they have, you know, they're paying rent to whoever. But, you know, that's one of the things that I would just like to bring to everyone's attention. And I didn't want to use this platform for that. And I apologize, but that word embezzlement and fraud is not true. How can that be if you applied for a program and they got awarded and it wasn't them that were approving those applications? The other thing I wanted to bring up is that, you know, I want to reach out and help those families that have been targeted. And so I want to try to do some kind of a fundraiser to help our families, maybe even get a retainer for an attorney for our people. to help them figure out how to resolve this, because we've helped, that renters program, helped hundreds of our people. And so I don't know why there's a select few being targeted, but I think they need legal representation. And so I wanted to do a fundraiser, and I don't know the venue to do that, and maybe that could be another conversation, but thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Pierre. I really appreciate you sharing your words, and it's really sad where our nation is. It's really sad that that all of this happened in a real I felt the press releases and all of the way information got out, and confidentiality is a joke at the nation. Trust me, I've been on council. The same whistleblower was caught up in other whistleblowing, and it's just really sad. People don't know the facts. I'm really glad. I think people need to I think if people need to reach out to you and they want to talk with you, I really encourage that, because a lot of the gospel that's going around comes from the very snakes in our backyard, and it's sad to say a lot of this is personal, and I look forward to the tribe and KNL Gates or whoever we have providing. I think we should demand the report. I think we should demand a public report, and that's what I want to see. I don't want to hear gossip and hearsay. From the gossiping clams online. I hate to say it, but the gossiping clams isn't gospel. And I think, thank you for sharing that. I think the truth just needs to come out, and I think it'll come out. And I really appreciate your words, Councilman Pierre. Irene Thomas.
That was the other thing that I forgot to mention earlier about having the Office of the General Counsel. And it's already been brought up, but it needs to be put on our list of tasks to do at the annual General Counsel meeting. We approved the attorney contracts for the tribe, but all those attorneys only work for LIBC. They do not work for the people. So none of them can be consulted when it comes to personal situations for our nation's people, i.e. the recipients of the rental assistance program. I am one of them and got the letter that said that I have to pay the money back. Why would I have to pay money back when I turned in all the proper information and all the proper paperwork and was approved? I don't understand why I'm being told now that I have to pay the money back. So I believe that before we approve the attorney's contracts for the nation, for the LIBC, that we really need to start looking at having an attorney for the General Counsel as a priority for situations just like this, where our people are being told that just because we followed the directions properly and received the funding that was made available to the people, and now they're telling us we have to pay it back, it's ludicrous. It's ridiculous that they're doing this to us. And we're allowing it, and we've got to stop them from acting like they're above everybody else and that none of us matter. And it's unbelievable how the people are being treated these days. And I'm sick of it. I'm sick and tired of it. So I agree that the General Counsel needs to have their own attorney. Aishka.
Yeah, thank you, Irene. A really good point there. I don't think it's rocket science. I think with the Office of the General Counsel, and I'm just throwing this out there as a former leader, but you know, we used to do action plans all the time. Okay, anybody? Okay, you want to know how to do action plan? Okay, here. Write it down. I'm going to show you. I don't know what time it is. It's 10 to 7. So we're right at the end of our show. But action plan is what happened before. What are you doing? And then where are you going? Where do you want to go in the future? Okay. So what happened in the past? What are you presently doing? And then what can we do in the future? What do you plan on doing? And then the timeline and how you're going to get there. And what is stopping you? Okay, so with the Office of the General Counsel, if we had 2 deputy general counsel officers that are you know, would represent and go to all the CBC meetings and report back the first Saturday of each month to the GC. Simple enough. I mean, I don't know how many words a minute you can type, Irene, but you know, I went to Chimao and I still can type 70 words a minute. So, and there's nothing wrong with giving our representatives the technology to be able to do verbatim and actually bring us back a summary of the monthly meetings and if they met on Zoom and who was all there. And I think that would be one great way, and to go to all council meetings and to be budgeted for. Love to see you volunteer, but I just think that volunteerism is another thing. We need accountability, and that's just the way it is. Do you have something to say, Irene?
No, I was just agreeing with you. That's why nobody wants to listen to me, because everything that I suggest means they have to be accountable. Nobody wants to be held accountable. They act like they don't have to respond or be held accountable for their jobs. They are in a paid position, and we deserve to know what it is that they do on a daily basis. How are they earning this money, this outrageous amount of money that they're being paid? So everything that I suggest gets shot down. Nobody wants to do it. Nobody wants to change the Constitution. Well, the council members don't want to change the Constitution, because then it takes away their power to be able to do whatever they want, whenever they want to do it, and not have to answer to the General Counsel. I'm getting sick and tired of them acting like they're above everybody else. And it's got to stop. We've got to stop it, people.
Yeah, so Irene, have you heard anything about the General Counsel? Anybody online that you want to comment in the chat? If there's going to be a General Counsel meeting, I don't know how true it is. I heard the tribe shut down at 3 today.
Yeah, they said, I seen a flyer on the communications page, it said that it was scheduled for Saturday, January 8th at 10 a.m. But that information was going to be pending on whether it was going to be at Lhaq'temish or on a Zoom. Haven't seen anything since. Of course, they'll wait till the last minute to decide how it's going to be performed.
Alvin says in the chat box that yes, there is going to be a meeting yet.
So there is going to be a meeting.
But where and how is the question? Where and how is the question?
Yeah, that's I don't see how the nation can hold an in-person gathering with 195 active COVID cases. I know we, not to say that I love to help problem solving, but you know, we could like separate tables in the Lhaq'temish house and have people sit in their little circles and be, you know, just in their households and socially distance and open a door or turn on the fan or I don't see how the general counsel can be effective on Zoom. I honestly don't. I have some questions about if the annual report is actually going to come out. I don't know how we're doing a continuous resolution in 2022. So these are just some questions I think that we need to talk about and discuss. Remember, we got to approve. They're gonna bring the attorney contracts forward, Irene. And I don't know if they think that they're just gonna push them through with. I mean, I want to see a detailed report. I want to see what K&L Gates, if they had the approval, this investigative firm had legal authority to do the investigation, because they're only covered under what, healthcare, is that right? I have to agree. I have to agree. Levon just, you know, added there's more general counsel than counsel. It's time to stick together and make them hear the people. Thank you. Sarah, thank you. Might have to plan for outdoor meetings. I don't see why not. It's just so difficult in this time of COVID. Levon, counsel ignored several people on Zoom, so it doesn't work in meetings with counsel. I have to agree. Levon, thank you. These are real issues facing our future. I know if you haven't been able to read the article on the Lummi page about petrogas, I posted the minutes, but that, you know, those were real issues that came before us just when COVID hit. And so it you know, these are very critical times. Before we leave here, Deb, are there any other comments? I got one comment from Carlene Casimir. She says she's got lots of resources and tried to share with the ladies at the shelter. Help is needed for the elders, but it's limited. So she would love to help with our list. And so thank you, Carlene, for your comments there. And nothing online there, Deb?
Not that I can see, but Kathy still has her hand up, so I don't know if that was up from before or she's got something new she wants to add.
Okay.
I was just trying to say, Fred, it was K&L was hired for Medicaid. That's all. And I put it in the chat too. I'll take my hand down now.
Okay, thank you. K&L was hired for Medicaid. And so the general counsel needs to figure out, I guess we need to, I think Irene, it'd be good if you either can reach out to, how do we approach this? Is the annual report going to be ready? Are we potentially postponing the general council meeting? I don't see how having a week off and council is going to be ready for the annual.
Yeah, I'm friends with Willie Jones on Facebook, and so I'll reach out to him to find out what the plans are and whether they're going on, when they're going to let the people know what the situation is going to be on Saturday. And the report from the chairman is going to have to come from Happy, because you know William just got sworn in this past election, so Happy's the one that's going to have to read that report from what happened throughout the year prior to his being not elected as the chairman again. But I'll reach out to Willie and hopefully they'll get something out. Tomorrow is already Thursday and everybody's wanting to know. So I'll do that when we're done here.
Yeah, that'll be great, Irene. And then if we need to come back and come on, do a public town hall, if you want to invite them, I'd be more than happy to maybe bring them on. I wish our general council meetings were live on Facebook like this, because at least people are able to see it. They're not sitting in a Zoom room. They're not sitting there. They're not, like, a lot of people don't even know how to raise their hand and make sure that their questions are being heard. And so we got to remember and continue to educate, Irene, that these are our meetings. And I really hope that we can either come to some conclusions about whether or not general counsel is going to even approve the attorneys and their contracts. I think that's real important, because as per the Constitution and as a council member, we're bound by the Constitution. The chairman is supposed to prepare, and you can all look at this up. You can Google Lummi Constitution, and under general counsel, the annual general council meeting is scheduled for the first Saturday of each January of the year. And the chairman, correct me if I'm wrong, Irene, is supposed to present annual report to the community, and then we're supposed to approve the attorney contracts. And I think that's where we, as general counsel, really need to push for our initiatives. If they're going to try and push this through, I just think that the GC needs their own attorney, so that we're not just left relying on the Lummi Public Defender's Office when we're fighting your own nation. And that's just, again, my suggestion. I'm 1370, 1376, and so remember, everyone, you can I guess start writing your letters for your priorities. Irene, I don't know, do you have any other suggestions? I'm I'm trying to think if they're meeting Zoom at the Lhaq'temish, which I doubt they're going to do. I think that would be a great venue for you know, the people to be socially distanced, to live stream it as best as we can, and to really let the people voice their concerns. Put a mic up front. I don't know. Go ahead, Irene.
Yeah, I agree that as long as we follow the guidelines set forth by our health team, I don't see why we couldn't have, you know, 50 people at least inside the Lhaq'temish, and then everybody else could join via Zoom. But I, for one, prefer to be in person because, you know, I take notes. I've taken notes on what everybody said here tonight because that's what I do.
Did we lose her? Okay.
Any burning, anyone with burning desires that wants to add to our conversation? Again, this is our Lummi Town Hall. I'm calling it Rez Talk of the Lhaq'temish. It's our weekly Lummi community forum for, of, and by our Lhaq'temish people of the Lummi Reservation. And again, in no way does it reflect the opinions or the policies of the Lummi Nation, its leaders, its staff, and those that spoke publicly. We're here as community members, as general council members, as concerned grandparents and family and friends. And so we thank each of you that have provided you with our comments. Thank you, Irene, it's good to see you. It was good to see you today, Irene. I'm really glad you're home, and I'm really glad everyone was able to come on Rez Talk of the Lhaq'temish. Again, it's just our public forum, raising our hands to our relative from Lower Elwha. I called him last minute. I didn't know who can do a prayer and who had Zoom and who know how to do it. And so thank you, Hammer, for helping us out here, your relatives on the Lummi Reservation. I'd like to thank our technical staff, Deb Cruz. I want to thank everybody that spoke. Irene, Thomas, Eldon Hilaire, Councilwoman Pierre, Levon James, and everybody that commented online. I think people shouldn't be afraid to talk. And you shouldn't be afraid to raise your voice. And anytime you want to come on, we'll be on next Tuesday, January 11th, 2022. And this is your avenue. This is what I do. And we are the great Lhaq'temish people. Shesheshwawallet, Shesheshwawallet, Shesheshwawallet. In the great words of Chief Salit, don't ever forget where you come from. We are the survivors of the Great Flood. And so I thank all of our ancestors. Again, our loving thoughts and condolences to our families that are in mourning. And again, Happy New Year, each and every one of you. Really appreciate your love, and we'll have a better update on the referendum coming up next week, as I have my legal staff also looking into the wording for our referendum as it is going to come up here in the next 10 days or so. And,
I'll get a hold of you when I.
Okay.
Red Lane.
Okay. Well, again, thanks to each and every one of you. love and appreciation for all of our relatives near and far. And Irene, did you have something to add for us?
No, I was just saying good night.
Okay, love. Good night. God bless. And we will see you next week on Tuesday, January 11th. We're calling it Town Hall Tuesday. So we're here from 5 to 7. Again, if you have any suggestions, comments, you can message me. You can send me your messages, and we'll make sure we get them on. Again, going to call out I'm going to ask the treasurer to come on next week along with the budget committee to see where our 2022 budget is. So good night. God bless. And hi, Scott.